Enmeshment. Here we go again. I hope I didn't scare anybody with that opening. Enmeshment. Another video on the subject of enmeshment. Have you ever had a relationship or been in a relationship that was enmeshed? What is enmeshment? Do you know what enmeshment is? Enmeshment is a very fascinating dynamic in relationships that lack healthy boundaries, right? So enmeshment is basically a dynamic where two people, right, instead of, one person being here and the other person being right here, if you think about, another hand here with fingers being interlocked and interlaced, that's what enmeshment is. I would use my other hand, but it's holding the camera. So basically your shit is their shit is your shit. There's way too much like over reliance on each other to, like, you're just so interwoven with their shit in their life that there's no sense of like healthy, that's yours, this is mine, right? And for people that are enmeshed, that's a very comfortable dynamic for them. They're very used to that, right? However, what I want to do is I want to talk about the experiences of having relationships that are enmeshed, whether they're just friends or it is actually a partner instead. I've had multiple relationships throughout my life that have been enmeshed, and the scariest thing about enmeshment is when you confuse, well, I don't want to say the scariest thing. What I'll say is that in my own experiences and in my opinion, based on my wisdom, the scariest thing about enmeshment is when it's confused for love, right? So like when you're enmeshed with somebody and you think that it's love, right? The crazy thing about enmeshment is that there's so much control. There's a lack of individuality. There's a lack of self and other. There's a lack of fucking boundaries, and that's one of the biggest issues with enmeshment. But one of the things about enmeshment that I dislike them, listen, I'm gonna just make it very fucking clear. Enmeshment fucking sucks in more ways than one. Metaphorically, it sucks. Literally, it sucks. It sucks the fucking life out of you because you're like trapped inside of through things like guilt and shame and obligation, you're trapped inside of a fucking fucked up, dysfunctional, unhealthy structure of a system that stops you from pursuing individuality. If you were individuated, if you had differentiated, you would not be in any system of enmeshment. That's just the way that it is, right? Because if you were individuated, you would understand that it is not your place to be enmeshed with somebody else, right? You would understand that being sucked to somebody is just not your game, right? And one of the things that I've experienced in relationships where there have been enmeshment is, like, I was used for a number of different things, and then I was just basically discarded, right? And that fucking sucks, right? And that's what happens when you don't have boundaries. Or at least you don't have healthy boundaries, right? Permeable boundaries are a fucking magnet for dynamics of enmeshment. Why? Because if you can imagine the whole, I'm going to make it much bigger because it is much bigger. Imagine a hole the size of this fucking frame, right? Now imagine sticking your entire fucking body into it and over-involving yourself in somebody's life, right? Interwoven yourself with all of their shit and them doing the same fucking thing. So basically you're just this fucking glob with them. No, we don't want that. Now, people that are comfortable with that think that that's normal. They think that that's, healthy doesn't even matter to them. They're just so fucking used to that, and they don't have their own sense of individuality where they're their own person and the other person is their own person. Instead, no, they are interwoven with each other, right? There's no sense of individuality, this, that, and the other, and it just fucking sucks. Enmeshed relationships usually limit individuality, which then limits a person's pretty much capacity to achieve the most potential that they possibly can as an individual, right? As I have been healing and everything, I've really been moving away from dynamics of enmeshment and also learning to really unwire all of the beliefs of enmeshment equals love. No, it does not. Do you think that it's a loving thing to be so interwoven into somebody else's life that dynamics of control end up taking place and you feel controlled in a way that you are not actually allowed to actualize your own potential as an individual? That's fucking love? No, it's fucking not, right? So that's how dynamics of control end up manifesting in relationships where there are enmeshment. Why? Because you're enmeshed with a person, right? Literally. Like, you know, if this might get kind of graphic and a little nasty, but I'll do it anyway. If my hand was enmeshed with my face and my head, here's what would happen. This is gonna get, again, warning, this is gonna get a little bit gross, right? So my hand is enmeshed with my face, right? Imagine two people doing that. I just got a bloody nose. Oh well, anyway. I hope that doesn't get too graphic on video. Imagine two people doing that. Right? See the blood on my finger right there? Yeah, he's got a bloody nose. Imagine two people doing that. There is no clear sense of individuality. There are no clear boundaries. And that's why it ends up taking place as, you know, enmeshment. That's just what it is. Enmeshment is basically the sense that there is no clear defined differentiation between you and I. I am you and you are I. I think about the movie Alien when I do this. Anyway, moving away from enmeshment can be challenging because if you have associated it and identified it with and as love, then you are likely to just continue pursuing that dynamic because it's all that you've known, right? Enmeshment is not love. Love is not enmeshment, right? Enmeshment is when you are so overly sucked into, involved, and, you know, consumed, interwoven, interlaced into somebody's life that you just have such a level of involvement. Oh, and by the way, speaking from my own personal experiences, many people that are enmeshed, they are used to being used, so they make themselves available in ways that it's like, let me just do literally absolutely everything. I think I'm still bleeding. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, they're like, let me do literally absolutely everything that I can for this person as to be a total object and item of utility for them. Why? So that they always fucking need me. So that they don't fucking leave me. You might have, I don't know, abandonment wounds, right? Jeez, man, I'm bleeding. It's fucking crazy. It's all over my hand. I'm gonna think twice before I do that again. You might have abandonment wounds, and therefore you've learned to make yourself an object of utility for people in their lives. Why? Well, the more that people can use you, the less likely it is that they'll leave you. But that's not love. That's, oh, this person is useful in my life, so I'm just going to continue using them. But guess what happens after a while? Do you give them, I wouldn't say shit, but do you try to have a healthy relationship with them? Yeah, probably. Do you want some level of intimacy with them? Yeah, probably. Well, here's the thing about people and enmeshment. People that are very used to and comfortable with dynamics of enmeshment. They don't know intimacy. Enmeshment is pseudo-intimacy. Right? It's a half-baked, fucked up, dysfunctional-ass, fucking unhealthy version of intimacy. I don't even want to call it a version of intimacy because it's not. I got blood on my pants. That sucks. Anyway, enmeshment is not intimacy, right? So if you think that you're going to fucking run yourself dry of utility to keep somebody in your life, you can do that all you fucking want to. You can run yourself fucking dry of utility for another person in your life, of fear that they will leave. Oh, I'll just make myself more useful to them. Oh, I'll just be this or that for them. I just don't want them to leave me. I am enmeshed with them even though I don't know that I'm enmeshed with them, and I'm calling this love because this is immature and it's underdeveloped and I don't know what else to do. And if I try to communicate to them that I don't like the dynamic, they're just going to leave me, so I'll just continue allowing myself to be used by them, and that's it. Right? No, enmeshment is not love. Enmeshment is not intimacy. Enmeshment voids individuality. Enmeshment is when you are interwoven with somebody else. And you lack individuation and differentiation. You lack the healthy boundaries. You lack self and other, right? Relationships that are enmeshed are not healthy. It's likely at some point that they're going to fall out. They're not going to work. Things are just not going to work out. Not allowing another human being that is physically separate from you to be their own fucking individual is just fucking horrendous. Like, think about that. Like, imagine if I was to look at somebody else and I was to be like, I'm going to control you. We're going to get enmeshed. We're going to get tangled up. We're not going to know the difference between self and other. Your stuff is going to be my stuff. My stuff is going to be your stuff. Yay! No, who the fuck wants that? No. Your stuff is your stuff. My stuff is my stuff. You bring that shit to a therapist. I'll do the same thing. You and I can grow in intimate ways together, but we can also maintain our own healthy boundaries, our own sense of individuality, and that's just the reality of how this stuff works. It doesn't need to be any other way. Healthy boundaries, intimacy, enmeshment can go fuck itself. Healthy love. Let me just end off with this to make this very clear. And this might be challenging for some people and also just hard to hear. Healthy love is when you allow another person to be themselves and you love them for that. You don't try to change them. Take it from the man who's had fucking years, at least like a decade and a half of experience with this, right? I have spent so many fucking years of my life trying to control and change people to feel better about the situation, to maybe figure out how to like love them better and everything. No. You want to love somebody? Let them be themselves. Don't control them, don't move them, don't change them, don't pick them up, don't throw them, don't bring them, don't do anything. Just let them fucking be themselves or get the fuck out.